What's up YouTube? My name is Mutai Khan and you are watching Kh4nVision. Today I'm going to talk to my friend Wardi, who is a very interesting person, has a lot to share, and I hope you like this show. And if you do like this show, then subscribe to this channel and make sure you hit the button and comment some of the topics that we can discuss in the future of this show. Alright people, enjoy this show. Boom! Okay, so introduce yourself.
Bismillah. My name is Muhammad Ahmed. On the paper, that's the government name.
Okay.
But the name that I was given at birth is Wardi Abdul Wahab. 30 years of age. I live in Helsinki at the moment. I lived in Kenya for 6 years. I've lived in England for 6 years. And the rest of my life I've been in Finland. Father of two, alhamdulillah.
Okay, mashallah.
Been married before, ended up as a divorce as it was written. I have a bachelor's degree in medical pharmacology, which is drug development and design.
From drug dealer.
Legal drug dealer, so to speak. And I got the degree from Coventry University.
Okay.
And yeah, that's a small introduction of who I am right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you doing currently?
Currently, I have had a gap year from my studies. The graduation was 2017 summer. So between those years now, I've just been working, and I work as what they call personal assistant.
Yeah.
And that's
for disabled people.
Sometimes it's the elderly, but mostly is the kids with not autism, but what's this disease you call?
Down syndrome.
Down syndrome.
Yes.
Thank you. Kids with Down syndrome. Currently working, and I'm hoping, and the aim is to get back to school next year.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
They have a lot of people with that Down syndrome in Finland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Compared to other countries as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. You know what's the reason for that?
There is quite variety of reasons.
Yeah.
But this is a genetic defect.
Yeah.
And it's mostly really present with Westerners, if you like, the Europeans and the Americans. If you go back to Africa, we really don't have, it's a chromosome within the gene that somehow is dislocated. And as the creator, God does as he wills, and we really don't have any cure for it.
Yeah.
But they're not really sick if you look at these people. They're a lot more intuitive, and they're a lot more in contact with their own spirit, if you like, because the emotions are very not high but intellectual. They are more emotionally intelligent.
Yeah, and I think they just have a different vibration with the reality. Would you say?
Yep. They see things from different perspectives.
So I'm interested about this work that you do, because I have few friends who does the same kind of work, and they said it's very interesting. So can you say certain things, that what kind of prejudice did you have about the work, and what you how did your understanding change?
Well, that's the thing. When I walked into the job and I was given the job, I didn't walk in with any kind of prejudice, if you like, or any kind of assumptions of what the work would be like. I had a completely clear mind, in a sense that the people who need help, and your help is really going to make a difference in their life, and that in turn would be something for me that I could take as if you've done something good. But it's really interesting, and it's really surprising. You will get a lot of surprises, because you will never know what the next moment this person will be, because their mind state it changes so rapidly. And in quotes, with normal people, when they are going through mental change and the state of mind is changing, you're not really going to notice it immediately. We try and cover it up, and try and bring out the real state of mind when it suits us. But them, they don't have a filter.
So so there is less of the fakeness. So whatever you have, it's whatever you get.
Whatever you get.
So it's kind of nice. And I assume many people think that they just put these people in one box.
Yeah.
Like, they're like
Disabled.
this. Yeah. Or they behave like in a certain way. But what I understood, that each one of them has like a very distinct personality, and they would be very different. Some of them likes music, some of them likes arts or whatever, you know.
And they're more, from my experience, what I've noticed, they are more artistic, if you like.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not
more in touch with their soul.
There you go.
I would say.
I'm not saying that they're Beethoven.
Yeah.
But they are actually more. They see art in everything.
Yeah.
In the smallest of the things, they will somehow be able to.
I think we as human nature, we're supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
But it's just the expectations and culture that shapes us to be in a certain way. You're supposed to eat with your left hand, you know, in a Western culture. Or when it comes to Islamic culture, obviously it's a right hand. So you kind of fix yourself with the reality, but they don't understand, or they don't need to understand. Not need to. I think they don't just get that, so they just do whatever feels right now to be the right thing to do.
And I would actually emphasize they don't need to.
Yeah.
They really don't need to, because they have been created in a certain way, and they care less about, one, they don't care less because the way they have been created, they are somehow disabled. But they really do not want to know what the outside world is really trying to program them with. They're anti that. It's not in their genes. Yeah. And I really look up to them, and I really somehow wish I could be as open as them.
Value that in a certain way.
Yeah, it's very, very, very
so you need to like take care of them. So one of the thing is, like, what I see in a friend of mine who's been doing a similar kind of work, he said that he learned a lot of parenting from these kind of jobs.
Yeah.
So, and one of the ways my friend, he grew up without a dad. He was like a teenager or about to become a teenager when his dad died.
Right.
And he didn't kind of have a father figure to learn how to be a dad. Yeah. But obviously we have an understanding what does it mean to be a dad. Yeah. So he did this very interesting thing. So whenever he there is a time when you need to like separate your bed with your kids. So he did this thing with his child. Like first couple years, they might feel very scared to just sleep in their own bed. Absolutely. So he used to sleep in the floor while his kid was sleeping on his own bed. And then he said the reason is because he wants the kids to feel safe in his own space. So whenever the kid would wake up, would see his dad, so he felt secure. And I was like, wow, that's an amazing thing. Then I would never thought about that. And he said and he didn't say that he learned these things through his job, but I would assume it had some influence. Influence. So what would you say? Do you find some of these things? Some of them are subconscious. You might not even identify that consciously.
It's the subconscious that's actually leading most of our actions, which we really don't know. But I can relate to that. Wouldn't say parenting, but relate to as
other aspects of life.
Older brother. There's a client that I was working with at a time, and he was a teenager. And since he has the Down syndrome, he doesn't have the filter, and he doesn't know how to really constructively explain what's really going on in his mind. He's a teenager, and it does not exclude him from having hormones, and for him to learning that he's attracted to women, and that he really likes women and whatnot.
So he's like a super hetero.
Yep, super hetero, and he, in his mind, he has convinced himself, and I really give him the props for that he's an exceptional smooth talker.
Oh,
and he's a player. He's a player, and he's the ladies' man of all. Now, in the group where we're working, I'm the only male.
Okay.
The rest are women.
Yeah.
So he would come to me and he would practice his game on me.
Oh.
While we're actually working. He would, come at me and say some things that I really wouldn't want to say exactly how he said it. But he'll try and come and touch you and come and try and kiss you and say, is this okay if I did this with a woman?
So, sorry, can I ask, does he know how to communicate in language, or did he use sign language?
No, he can communicate. Okay. But there was a bit of
calibrating.
Slight problem with the communications of words. But he knows what he wants to say.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe his vocabulary is not as developed as others, but he can communicate.
Okay.
So when he is expressing and trying to talk to me about how he should get with the girls and what's the good thing that he shouldn't do, what popped into my head is my older brother wasn't there for me to teach me that. And neither was my dad. I had to learn that
the hard way. Getting slapped.
Sometimes getting water splashed on your face because you learn it, you know. So at that particular moment is when I thought to myself, like, hey, wow, this is something that you can actually use. And you can actually be some kind of role model for this kid.
I mean, just to think about, like, just for a split second, I was thinking about my experience, you know, as a teenager. I was, like, deeply... Because we always have that one crush, you know, the first crush. You'll remember until you die, you know, the first crush. It just stays... is a special place in the heart for them. And I remember, like, now that I think of all the dumb stuff that I did, just to get the attention, you know, like, I would, like... man, it's just...
Yeah, it makes you feel weird now that we think of it, but we actually did it. And it wasn't long ago either.
Yeah, and you would, like, I would call myself a handicap, you know, for the behavior that I did.
A complete retard.
And maybe,
we've had a lot of experiences. Now that I'm thinking of it, I'm thinking, like, really? Did I say that? Did I, particularly that day, say that kind of a thing to that girl? And it's, you know, if you can always be... I wouldn't say a role model, because to be a role model is a huge responsibility. You should run away from that. But if you could naturally just have this...
Good influence, would you say?
Influence. To somehow in your mind, you know, convince yourself and tell yourself that you are made to guide someone to something better, even if it's a smile. And that smile could potentially save someone from killing their lives.
Exactly.
And that is the smallest thing that you can do as a role model. But we just want to start from big. And we want to be adored,
you know,
and get followers.
You know, I think one of the, you know, a good friend of mine told me about this quote that a youth would burn the village just to get the heat of love. And I think we're lacking of love overall in world. You see so many teenagers, you know, not feeling loved. In not just, you know, relationship love, but overall acceptance. So whatever comes in under the banner of love.
Understanding is one of the two.
And understanding is a big part of the love, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. They don't receive that because there's set rules. And there's a trend, and there's a norm, and then there's a culture. All those four.
And the masculinity when it comes to the parents, you know, for example, in some of, like, you know, stuff that I heard from my dad, I have a very good relationship with my dad, and I really want to keep that because I think it's good for him and it's good for me to understand what it means to be a dad. God willingly, if I'm going to be a dad one day,
definitely, hopefully.
And you know, I want to give like best time to my parents. You know, I think they deserve the best time. You know, especially when they've done all the stuff that they have for us. So you know, and I hear these stories that I thought my dad was rough with me, because that's what we think about our dads, right? And some of the dads are, you know, very rough. So he told me some of his stories that he went through with his like dad, and I was like, whoa, you know, like
no comparison.
So he told me once because they used to live in a village, so my granddad was on a boat leaving towards office or whatever. He was like a postmaster, they call him. So he's like head of the post office in the local area. So my dad was supposed to get the same ride, the same boat, and you know, get on with
his dad.
With his dad. So my dad tried to jump and he missed it, so he, you know, fell in the water, and his dad was like, okay, you know, just let me. And obviously, as a kid, you know, that's a big, you know, hit in your, you know,
in your heart.
And my dad went to his grandma and complained about this, and the grandma gave, you know, beating to his.
Why you complaining about it?
No, the grandma basically told off my grandfather, you know, like, hey, you can't do this to kids. Yeah, but he probably, and it's just maybe in his mind, you know, we don't know what's going on in his mind, but maybe he had bigger issues or stress or whatever.
And
but,
there was that general notion back in the day that the toughness makes the man. You know, that he has to be a caveman and he has to be, you know, tough and harsh. And it's not really like that. It's not really like that. And some parents are waking up to that.
Yeah.
And they're a lot more softer with their kids, and they show them the love and the understanding. They try and walk in their shoes.
I think back in the days, life was much harder.
Yeah.
You know, to make ends meet was much harder. You know, so they had to do a lot of work and a lot of stress in a country where they don't have a social welfare. Even if you have a social welfare, you know, things like financial difficulties is a huge burden. You're like, oh my god, well, you know, how I'm gonna feed my kids.
It's hard. It was really hard.
And the culture of how you show love, because to my dad, the way to show love is to give the better piece of the meat to the kids.
Absolutely.
Or, you know, buying fruits and various kind of food. But, you know, us Westerners, because we are pretty much Westerners, born and or lived or brought up here.
And bred, yeah.
Yeah, that means different. You know, like food does mean something to us, but it doesn't mean the same thing as it means to us. Yeah, back in the day. Absolutely. So nowadays, you know, like we have this notion of, you know, feeding your loved one. You know, when you get married, you feed the loved one.
Absolutely.
So it's like feeding. The food has such a, you know, like a huge...
Yeah, it has a huge importance.
Yeah. And in our religion, giving food to someone is a charity. But nowadays, if I give you like some food, we don't... Even I don't look at it as, oh, I'm giving a charity or something. But it's a material thing.
Yeah. I mean, the whole concept of food, it's even... the food itself is not food these days.
No.
That's why you see that we don't really consider it as a gift from someone.
Yeah.
You know, it's so, all the GMOs and all the junk food and all the who has and the speeds just became, it took out the nutrition from it.
So so what about your studies? So you studied something to do with the drug
development, yeah.
So there is a part of that, you know, some of the foods are kind of a drug or has these nutritions that are beneficial for us.
Yeah.
A very basic drug is, you know, so we have cannabis, whether you call it a drug or not, but, you know, it's basically from the earth, right? So it has a different compounds and molecules and stuff like that. So how has your studies changed your views on food or overall nutrition?
Interestingly enough, in the aspects of nutrition when we were studying, I
just eat the protein, bro.
Kill it and
you get the protein.
I came across a guy called Dr. Sebi.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's quite known for his research that he has done in nutrition, in food, and what really is food. Now, this guy, he has cured people from AIDS and from cancer and from HIV.
AIDS?
From AIDS, literally.
Oh my days.
And he has documented all of these patients that he had overall for all these years. His main focus was what you put in what we eat. It's what really makes you. And he was focusing on is it vegetarians? Would you call it? These people who just eat vegetables and they don't eat no meat.
So you have vegans who don't eat any kind of animal products, no milk, no eggs or anything. Vegetarians are, some of them have milk, some of them have eggs, some of them have fish.
There's levels to it.
So there's levels to it.
You never know.
Yeah.
So he was more into, you can eat like eggs and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
But he was really hardcore on not eating meat and not eating processed food. And your food is what makes you. Literally what you eat is what you are, my friend.
Yeah.
So at that particular subject area, when we're studying the nutrition, is then you will get to find out the biochemical reactions that this food actually has on you, and how it blocks your gut, and how it messes up your veins, and how your heart just gets all twisted. So your whole immune system is dying slowly, and we have the impression that we're healthy. And we're not. So food is really important. It's really important in the sense that it's a gift. The gift.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay. So about the whole, because you know the whole vegan movement and stuff like that. What I've been personally convinced is the problem with food and the relationship we have with food. Is the processed food is one of the biggest.
GMOs.
Yeah, GMOs and I think more like those additives and all those things that säilykkeet they say in Finnish. So, you know, which preservatives.
Yeah, preservatives.
Yeah, I think those are like something that we shouldn't be putting in our body. When it comes to meat, I think if you have a good quality meat, it's a good. And we do a lot of overeating as well.
Yeah.
We eat much more than what we should be eating. So I don't know, because there are a lot of people who tried this caveman diet where you just have low carbs and more protein, and just meat, and they have actually cured themselves from autoimmune diseases and stuff like that. But Joe Rogan has a lot of podcasts about this stuff, and he is into health and fitness, and he talks about that it has a lot to do with the source that you're eating, how clean are they when it comes to preservatives and stuff like that. And the second thing is overeating, so time restricted eating, fasting, for example, is very good. I do personally. I started doing this intermediate fasting. So the last meal I try to have it around 8 or 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And the first meal in the morning is about 12 o'clock. Before that, I'll just have water and coffee. And it has helped me a lot because my portion size has become smaller. Because, just eat. Because the fasting period kind of shrinks your gut. Yeah.
There's less you can intake.
And I feel so much more sharper. And I was actually thinking of fasting some days, just having water and salt in water, because we need salt. Okay. Salt and maybe some vitamins and fish oils, and just for a couple days not have any other food.
Just water.
Yeah,
water
just to
fast.
clear your gut from all the shit, basically. Yeah, because there are some stuff inside your intestines that are like stuck in the wall that it will clear them out once you don't have anything in there, so it just flushes those things off. It would be interesting.
The simplest, if you look at the piping, the water piping right now, you dismantle them, you will definitely see that there's some kind of a clogging and it has gathered some kind of filth. And if a water pipe is getting filled up with filth like that, you can only imagine what happens to our systems.
Yeah.
And we don't really even take care of them. And fasting is the best way.
Yeah.
Is the best way to clear this thing out. We don't consider fasting as a great health benefit. I mean, we sleep on that a lot. The impacts that the fasting has on your body are way too many. The impacts it has on your conscious mind and your subconsciousness are even greater. A guy like Steve Jobs, when he gets a problem and he needs to fix it and come up with a solution, this guy would get on water fast. And until he gets an epiphany of some sort, he will keep on his fast. And 99% of the time, he gets his solution. And it's all throughout the fasting. So that food part, it's one of the main things that's really kind of messing our society up lately. And
especially the junk food.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the biggest addiction because like I crave junk food. It's nice, it's tasty. It's not even that tasty once you eat actually good food that you cooked yourself or someone who's very.
But the patience, the quick food. We know we want it there and then. We don't have that patience of waiting for a good meal and cooking it and then eating it, but we want it there and then. So. Yeah, man. It's last time I was eating at I don't eat at the McDonald's or the Hesburgers or whatnot. I was literally forced. My older brother's like, we have to eat right now and we're gonna eat this, so let's eat it. Halfway through the burger, Muttaqi, I threw up.
Because if you
I couldn't
place focus into that burger, and you just see that's.
I was just looking at it, and every bite, only God knows the thoughts that were going through my head. So the thoughts of the product where it came from, and just the general feeling of it, I couldn't hold it. Usually, I can hold stuff back and go to the toilet, but there and there on the table. So you can imagine how many people's appetite I killed there, and getting mad at me. But hey, it's.
What can you do?
What can you do?
It wasn't in your control.
You have to express yourself.
There are some good alternatives, especially in East Helsinki. There's a lot of these Arab restaurants where they serve these shish kebabs.
Okay.
So, have you tried those shish kebab places? Okay, we need to go there once.
Definitely.
So basically, they do this shish kebab. So it's like I think mincemeat in a certain way, and they grill it. And you can have like chicken, lamb, or beef, and they give you like freshly baked breads, So you know, you basically scoop
Yeah.
the meat with that, and they give you like a lentil soup and a lot of varieties of salad.
Ah.
So I think that's like I think that
mouth-watering.
yeah. So it's six euros to have just one of those kebab sticks. So if you take two of them, it's like 10 euros,
Okay.
and like 6 euros is enough to kill your hunger.
That's a
But if
nice
you want to
deal.
go overboard, you know, obviously take the 10.
And kill
But
yourself with it.
yeah, I mean, it's so much more healthier, and you know, people
better
like
option.
people like Sexica Sukla was like, you know, throwing out some Instagram stories like, hey kids, why are you guys going to McDonald's when you have this in your local places? You're actually helping someone in the local. You know, people are complaining, oh, foreigners, they don't do anything, blah blah blah. So you know, here is someone who's trying.
Foreigners actually doing it. Yeah, that's actually a good way of marketing this to the youth, and it would really be good.
And you see a lot of Finnish people going there,
Yeah.
and you know, I saw some reviews on internet and stuff, and actually in Kontula, you know, where I live, you know, there's one of the best places, and they say that the real kebab, not the doner one, because you know
kebab.
the doner kebab is nice, but then you need to find the right place, you know, where they actually have that authentic taste. But obviously,
It's all about the originality, isn't it?
yeah, but yeah, I just had it today. But anyway, we were talking about. So you said you were married to, you know, and obviously, you know, feel free to say if you don't want to talk about your stuff. But I was married as well, you know. So maybe we can talk about some of the marriage and stuff.
Absolutely.
So
where to start? Because it's such a wide and a touchy subject. And there's this show Jada Pinkett Smith came up with. Will Smith's wife.
Okay.
It's called the Red Table Talk, and it's a table where they actually let out and they speak about one of the most private things that the people could have, their relationships, and where they went wrong and how they went right. And watching a couple of episodes of that.
So is it all about blaming the other person, or did someone like, look, I messed it up?
No, it's actually they're not blaming, but they are given the opportunity to speak up and open up about it.
Okay, so is there like the both party, the male and female?
The male and the female,
yeah.
They're there. And by the way, marriage is not the only thing that they discuss. They even talk about quite a variety of topics with their kids and the problems the youth are facing. But that marriage part is the way they handled it when Will and his wife Jada were talking about the stuff.
I don't know why, but she seems very mature woman and very like intellectual person. And even Will Smith, you know, I don't know if it's throughout his career, but now he seems to be very more mature.
He gets better with age. It's like they open up more with age. And
I have like much more respect towards him. Like saying real stuff. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that.
A lot of celebrities,
because you find other, similar caliber people who make like hit movies and stuff, and they're just a movie maker, but you won't get any other influence. But anyway,
I think the secret with it is the more you get to know yourself, the more you're comfortable with yourself, then the more you're allowed to let people in to the inside of you because you're comfortable with it. And I think that's one of the keys and the secrets that he has. So watching their episodes made me really think and made me really clock and say, look, you have experience. And you've been married and you've been through a divorce, and I can only speak for our community. I can talk about the Muslims, and specifically you can talk, I would like to choose to speak about the Somalis. It's on the right, because that's what I am. What we're lacking, the core point, what it's coming to, it's openness and honesty, transparency, that you do not have to guess anything about this person, that we tell each other what we really all about. Now, and people usually they ask each other, what's your favorite color when they get to know each other and when they want to get married?
That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The core questions like, hey, do you have any past traumas that I should be aware of that maybe it could have some kind of an effect on you later on down in the life? Talk about real stuff. What are you bad about? What do you get annoyed about? Where do you see yourself 9 to 5 years? But within the next 2 months, we're always looking way too far into the future and not paying attention to the present or to the near future. With my ex-wife, I was not open and clear to her about my sexual past.
Mm.
Now, I opened up to her once I got married.
Oh.
And it's unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean...
You're not supposed to. You're supposed to tell this person way before that.
Yeah.
But I somehow kind of blame her because she did not ask about it.
She assumed.
She assumed that I had nothing, I had no previous experiences with nobody else. Now, once we got married is when she decided to ask, and that's when
she's like, oh, something is not right. He knows too much.
You know too much. That was going on, man. Like,
how did you know?
How do you know this? What do you know? And I expressed myself.
Okay.
And that triggered off a lot of alarms in her.
Especially if you're, I'm not saying she's insecure, I don't know her.
Yeah.
But overall, people, we get defensive.
Yeah.
Fight or flight. Sometimes you fight, sometimes you fight.
Yeah.
You know,
it's either or. It's nothing in between.
Yeah.
So, I really need to collect my thoughts about this.
I know.
So once I expressed myself, that's when the downfall started. And we're all insecure.
Yes.
All of us, to some degree, we're all insecure, and it's just about who are we comfortable enough to discuss those insecurities with, so that they wouldn't blame us or look down upon us, but they will try and rationalize it and say, hey, I have this insecurity too, meet me halfway. That is the issue. The insecurity popped in. She wouldn't express how hurt she was about it, and how bad she felt about it.
And one of the ways of defending yourself, once if you're insecure or you feel really hurt, is just to ignore it. It doesn't exist. And that's what we do.
We suffocate it.
And that's the worst thing to do, because you don't handle it.
You're feeding the beast. It just gets bigger and bigger, and then one day it's too big for you to handle it, and it's going to start biting heads off. Trust me, it will. With my community, that's how.
And then there is another thing, and I'm not obviously here to blame or judge anyone. But then there is this whole notion of if a guy has been with someone, basically non-virgin guys and non-virgin girls are treated totally differently. Or if a guy goes to a club and comes back, it's okay. Oh, he went to the wrong path and he came back. But if a girl does it, it's suddenly
worse.
It's worse, and I know so many.
So ridiculous.
Like just walking in Kondola, and I see so many girls, like Somali and Muslim girls, who basically, I don't even blame them, because it's sometimes the community doesn't take responsibility of these issues. And it's easy to spat or spit on someone, but it's hard to actually give your hand and pick them up.
Pick the person up.
And you don't need a degree. You don't need to be a good human to spit on someone. You can spit on whole freaking world. But to go and actually offer you help or at least try to understand someone is something that we don't do.
That's where we get it twisted. And this, I think, is the juicy part. We don't treat... when I say we, it's again the Somalis.
It's not just Somalis. I think the same issue is in other communities as well. But yes, but it's fine. I understand.
The reason why I'm saying these Somalis is because of the experience that I've had from my people. I would be a hypocrite if I would start saying something about other person's house when my house is on fire.
Okay, I see. Point. So you feel comfortable saying that? Yes, absolutely. It's fine. It's fine.
So we don't give the same judgments to the people. Now, if a guy, like you said, he has bodied like 10 to 30 girls, I don't know, he has 30 girls on his list. He's considered to be a smooth guy. He's considered to be a player. He's considered to be like, hey man, you the it. Now, if the same thing, a woman does that, the same thing, and the culture that we're living in, the society that we're living in, it's becoming easy.
Regardless whether you're Somalian or Finnish, it might be a different, how we treat it, but everyone knows the truth.
Everybody knows the truth. The woman would be blamed as, and the specific word is she's a hoe. But then when you ask them and you're like, where is the difference? Like, you've done the same and she's done the same, but you are better and she is lower. How
you know how they justify it?
How do they justify that?
They justify the way that if a lock goes and opens so many
Oh
locks.
my God, it's the lock analogy. No.
And I was like, yeah, it does kind of make sense, but at the same time, you know, I was like, you can't say that.
It makes no sense.
And it comes down to, I think, as well, to parenting, because, you know, like the way I was brought up, you know, and coming from a Muslim background, my parents wouldn't make any, separation between guys and girls.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe in a sense, like if I'm going, out in the night, they would let me go more because of, I can sort of defend myself.
Yeah.
And I know some people might say it's sexist or whatever.
Yeah.
Look, it's just how the world is,
It's the way we're built.
Exactly.
It's the way we're built.
And maybe they wouldn't. But when it came to other stuff, basically, these stuff that we're talking about, they wouldn't be cool with it, and they would equally judge us. And I think that's one of the things that I like about my parents. Like,
I've come to the realization of the perfect way to destroy a society is to destroy the family.
Yeah, that's true.
Because societies, communities are just families that came together.
We have so many broken families.
There you go. And for you to destroy a family, you have to break them apart. And what they do is they pick on the woman. They make the woman feel like she is less than the man. The culture does that. The environment does that.
Yeah.
This is where feminism came from. The women are fighting for rights that they don't even need. They really don't need the rights that they are fighting for, because there is no such thing as equality. It's justice.
Yeah.
It's the justice. So they destroy the woman and they tamper her name. Once they tamper her name and they've destroyed the woman, then you have a broken family. And once the family is broken, the whole society is all over the place. Now, the guy who's calling the girl, she's been with so many men and she's a hoe, he himself takes pride in the fact that he sleeps with a lot of women. So in other way, he's making a product and he's mad about that. So it's a really vicious...
It's a vicious cycle.
Really vicious.
But what about the marriage? So this insecurity started to grow. Yeah.
So as the insecurity grows, and it's not being dealt with, that's when every little thing will annoy the person and arguments become more. And
you know what's funny thing? We think it's very rational when we hate someone, but it's more emotional.
It's more emotional.
Yeah.
It's a lot more
you start to rationalize when you hate someone. I hate when they sit and smell and whatever.
There's the stoic mentality. If we were to remain, if we were to keep the emotions in check most of the time, then we wouldn't have all these argumentations or hate and the rest. So the insecurity, not talking about it, not discussing it. So about 8 months, 9 months down the marriage is when I reach a limit and where I want to really find out what the core is. So I sit the missus down, and I clearly remember this night, sit her down and, spoke to her gently, and made it look like there's nothing really going on, is when I struck the nerve. And I said, you're being very emotional, and you're being very irrational. There's a lot of things that you seem like you're mad about, but you're not. I think there's something inner.
They're much more deeper.
Yes, much more deeper. So kindly enough, please just let me know. Maybe we can discuss this.
Or maybe we can work it out.
And that's when she cracked open, and what she said really rang a bell in my head. And she said that had I really known that you previously had some other people before me, most likely I would have not married you. It's not fair that I am a virgin.
Yeah.
And you have had some other experiences. And there's a verse that she quoted, which is in the Quran, in Surah An-Nur, which says, "Azaniyatu lizani," if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I know that verse.
Yeah, and she was using that, and that really shook me. That really got me to the core, and I understood, and I'm like, okay, well, what can we do now? Is there any way
I can make it up
and I can make this better? And her answer was, if milk is spilled, that is it. You cannot really worry about it. It's done. It's nothing you can do.
Okay, that's what she said.
That's what she said.
Okay.
That you just have to live with it. So I'm in the hope, it was false hope. I'm in the hope of thinking, okay, she will recover and as time goes by. she will get over it. But all out through the marriage, things just kept on piling up and getting worse and getting worse. And I'm not blaming or putting all the blame on this particular thing. Of course there has been other
but it did
variables, but this is the main cause.
Yeah,
really.
This is like the biggest kick that kind of redirected the whole tangent. Kind of went other way
to another direction.
Yeah,
absolutely. So from there on, there was no recovering. There was only what you might call it, damage control.
Yeah, so it's basically managing the problem, not fixing it. So you're just, the ceiling is falling apart and you're like holding the bricks and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a very, and not only just to you, but for the relationship, even for her, that's not a good thing. To have such a emotional burden processed in a way. And it's just going to be a disaster.
It isn't. And on top of that, she gave birth within the first year. And that is something that I would always advise young couples who are about to get married. Do not have your first child immediately.
The kid is not gonna solve your problems. Goddammit!
No, he won't. He's a blessing.
I know so many. Look, I know so many people who are divorced, and I'm not saying just you, but I didn't even know about this stuff. I know so many people who get the kids. Like, you are putting another life into this mess
world. Yeah.
Yes, and think about the kid.
Yeah.
But obviously it's not to get you, but obviously we grow and we don't know any better. But if you are about to get married and you are married, please don't have kids in the first 2-3 years.
3 years, get to know each other, travel. Have time for one another.
Travel, have crisis.
Yeah.
You if you manage a crisis and that's it.
Imagine you start the marriage with crisis.
Yeah.
You're not gonna go far.
There is this hadith where they say like there's 3 ways to know a person. One is to travel, another is to deal with money, and the third is to
live with them.
To live with. Oh yeah, but to travel and to live them. I forgot the third one, but it makes so much sense. We judge people by money. How we handle money. Because people who handle greatly money, and people who handle like shit money.
Burn it.
So. Not just how you use money on yourself, but like for example, you asked 20 euros like a couple of days ago, and I was like, because first of all, I have so many bad experiences with lending money, and even with good friends of mine, and I know they have no ill intention,
absolutely at all.
Like they're really like the very good people, and but they don't live up to their commitments because of other things, And then I was like, okay, 20 euros is not that big money. And then I was like, and I will get to know what kind of person you are. Yeah. So then I was like, just for fun of that, I was like, I'll give him 20 euros. And then we didn't even like have a closing date. When are you going to give that money? Because that's very important for the one that you're giving. Yeah. And I was like, look, it's 20 euros. I don't give a damn, So I just gave it to you. Yeah. And then, after 2 days, you gave it back to me. And I was like, wow, okay, he is a man of his word. Yeah. And, like my respect towards you grew a lot. And that's what men are supposed to be. Not just men, human beings are supposed to do, right? But apparently it's not so easy stuff. But anyway, that's like a slight tangent. Then it's the, traveling. You find people who are very, nice people to hang out with. Go to travel with them, you're like, oh my God.
All hell breaks loose.
Exactly.
No
And
patience, nothing.
The travel should be smooth, you should be spontaneous with problems. Yeah. And back in the days, it was very hard. In our religion, you have the 4 rakas, unit of prayer becomes 2. Yeah. You can combine them, like the Shias. Yeah. I'm just saying. But it's a problem when the Shia does it, But anyway, that's another topic. But so... Yeah, those are very good components. So take some lessons, lend some money, but don't hope to get them back.
Absolutely.
And then there is another rule of giving money: never expect to see that money again. Because if you expect, that expectation will mess your brain, man.
Definitely will.
So if you can't afford, you have 1,000 euros saved up, but you can't afford to give it to someone, then please don't give it to you, because you will break the relationship. But if you don't expect that to come back, then you're like, whatever,
You still maintain the relationship. Anything that is given with the expectation of getting it back, will way or another, bite you in the butt. So the traveling, the money with the misses, you should really have those things. And if you look at this society we live, there's a lot of macho-ism, if that's a word. There's a lot of machos and a lot of the alpha male bullshit. And a lot of men, I've noticed when I was married, the people that I used to hang with who were married as well, were in university with, they would be shy of asking their woman money. And they would think that, oh, she's not going to look at me as a man. How can I? I'm the one who's the provider. I'm the one who's supposed to give.
So you end up living in a very delusional final
situation. Like, look, man, you're not Bill Gates. That's one. It's bound to happen that you will struggle one moment to ends meet, to, some kind of an issue is going to rise up. And you will have to rely on this individual, whether it's financially or whether it's emotionally in any other way. But men don't do that. They, keep it zipped up and they're like, nope, I'm not gonna ask her no money, and because of a problem that he has, financial problem
I'm gonna admit I have the same issue.
Yeah.
Well, especially when when you're married, that's one thing. But if you're just getting to know someone,
that's a different case.
Yeah, that's a different case.
There's Eddie. Is his name Eddie Griffin? I think.
Yeah. The black guy.
Black guy.
Yeah.
There was this stand-up comedy show, and one line he said really stuck to me. This guy said, and I'm just gonna lay it down here. He said, if the quickest way to make a woman's thing dry up is to ask her for money. I was like, wow, that is so true. That is if you are in that stage of relationship of some sort, and you're getting to know each other right now, and there's no more of a responsibility on one another. But if you're married, this is a whole empire you two are building. Yeah. So she will have to see where you're vulnerable, and you will have to see where she is maybe weak, so that you can help her fix it.
And I think that's very affectionate situation where another person is vulnerable or struggling. You see, like, there is this sweetness in struggle when someone sees that you're struggling for them. That kind of creates an emotional bond. Like, oh, he's working so hard just to bring the food. Yeah. And I think that's like, that scenario in itself is very emotional. Wow, that's so beautiful in our own way. In our own weird way.
Because it's teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
When I was getting married, I dealt with all of the finances. The house, the wedding, the this, the that. I had to deal with that. There was a close friend of mine at that particular time who got married a year before me. What the sister did, until today, they're together. Allahumma barik, may it be increased for them. But what she did is, because he's young and he's a student and he's struggling financially and all of that, she really made things easy for him in the sense she was like, you know what, forget the whole wedding hoo-ha, forget all the dresses and all that nonsense. And matter of fact, there's about 3,000, 4,000 that I've saved. Put it into your account, and then from there on, just build up. All I need is the basics. Just bring the bed and the stuff. So like, imagine.
The bed is the basics.
Just bring the bed. Why are you thinking like that? Just bring the basics and we're cool. Imagine the profanity. The level of impact she has on his mind. And how she's gonna boost his mind. That man is gonna work 10 times a lot more harder. Exactly. Because he's thinking, look, man, she's supporting me like that.
She's investing
in me. Yeah. I will make sure I will give her 10 times back.
Yeah.
But if she's really taking all out of you,
I know so many relationships, man. Yeah. Like some of the cultures, I don't want to say names, but some of the cultures, they think that, there's this saying that your money is my money and my money is my money. Some of the women's like live like that. Yeah. But I think that's Islamically that's right.
Entitled.
Yeah, they're entitled. But the thing is, we have to find the balance.
Absolutely.
And we have to understand that back in the days, men used to do work that would bring money. Women used to do work that you couldn't even buy that kind of service,
Absolutely.
giving birth, feeding the child, taking care of the house, and all this other stuff.
Times have changed.
Yeah, and times have changed, and I'm not saying those are invaluable. I'm saying that if we would have to pay for childbirth, the amount of pain, just tell another guy, another woman that, okay, I will pay you for that. So I'm saying that
no one would go.
So
for
I'm
that.
not even going there that who should be paid or what should be paid.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that times have changed. People are we need to take responsibility. Overall, if you come back to the point that let's take responsibility instead of blaming. Because if I want to blame, I can blame the whole world for all my problems.
And you wouldn't go far, yeah.
But if you start to take responsibility, clean your room. Start from there. You have a messy room, clean your room. How you feel? You feel like you're in control. You feel like you can do something about your situation. I think that's the thing that we are lacking, not in our own life, but in our relationships.
Yeah.
And
because as humans, if you look at it, we try and control the things that are uncontrollable, but the things that we can control,
we don't control.
We just let it slide. Like you just said, from the basis, which is cleaning your room. You know how really basic that is, and the impact that it has on a person is huge.
Yeah.
Clarity. We don't have that. So it's the cultural baggage. It's the the baggage from your family. Is within these Western parameters that we live in. All of those. It's a cocktail, huh?
Or any kind of parameters, to be
cocktail.
honest. Like some people are very eager to blame the West, but I'm just saying it's a culture like any other culture.
Absolutely. You take
and they have the good stuff, and we have
leave
some
the
of the
bad.
good stuff. Yeah, and we try to calibrate and learn, to find a good path.
Yeah.